What's going on, guys? It is a lot colder in Vegas than I thought it was going to be. So I'm out here. I wanted to give my thoughts on the prejudging last night. I lost my voice from screaming for Samson last night loud as I could. Anyway, I want to go over the placings or potential placings. So this is how I saw the show. I'm not a judge. I don't think I'm an expert. This is just what I saw. And I'm going to kind of go down the list. First person that comes to mind is Derek Lunsford. Absolutely incredible. When he walked out, I was sitting with Jose Raymond, and when he walked out, it was like we were waiting, knowing he looked good. You could tell by the way he was walking, and then he opened up for that front relax, and we both were just blown away. And then he did his front double, and it was even more nuts. Derek was absolutely incredible. Exceeded all expectations. Like everybody, I've had him as high as top 4 in my predictions, and I think a lot of people knew he was going to be great, but just seeing it was crazy. I was sitting 2 rows behind the judges, so I had a great view of everything. Hottie, when he came out, thought he was much bigger, much fuller. I don't think he had trademark conditioning, but he had a really good combination of the fullness and the condition. So it wasn't like that same gnarly condition that you're used to seeing from Hottie, but with the new fullness, it almost looked better because it was a better combination of everything, and he looked very big, very thick, so it was nice. When Brandon Curry came out by himself, I couldn't believe it. The size of him, I had never seen him that big, and I'm like, holy shit, he's gonna win. That was my first impression. Samson, when he came out, I was so happy. He didn't blow my mind yet. He was amazing. His physique was incredible. His structure is beautiful. The size he put on was great. His conditioning was good. He blew my mind when he came out in comparison, so I'll go to that later. But Rami came out. My initial thoughts were his lats were gone in the back double bicep. His triceps looked much more downsized. His calves looked more downsized. He seemed like he was having a problem with his stomach of some sort. Overall, there was a serious wow factor because he's very wide and very big. He commands respect on stage, but I just couldn't get past some of the holes in his physique. And then obviously people have talked about the tears in his quads and whatever, but it was the triceps that got me the most, to be honest with you, because that front double looked different and the back double looked different. You start to see his arms just didn't hold up with the rest of his physique, and then the back itself in that back double was a little bit glaring. So I don't know where they have Rami. I don't. I know some people are saying they put him off to the side because he was first. I don't know if I believe that, so I'll move on from that. William Bonac, when he came out, very thick. Condition was pretty good. His stomach seemed to be a little bit of an issue. I don't know if it was distended because he'd eaten a meal, or it was just kind of, as you get older, things change a little bit. I don't know. But everything looked great, but his stomach was kind of throwing off the flow of his physique. Andrew Jacked. Holy fuck. I know he called me out at the press conference, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. First of all, if Andrew watches this, I never had a problem with his physique. The breakdowns we did of his physique were in comparison to the best at the Olympia, and that's what we saw last night. And exactly what we discussed is kind of what came to fruition. His front shots are absolutely fucking mind-blowing. Like, he stood in his front relax. I could not believe the size and shape and condition, even from the front, was phenomenal. I'm like, from the front, he could be Mr. Olympia. When he gets into his side shots, he starts to lose a little bit, and then when he turns to the back, he's just missing that condition. His back could be a little bit bigger for a man his size, but it also, I think the biggest thing was that conditioning from the back did not match the conditioning from the front. And that might be what's still hurting him. Ian came out, trademark condition, but seemed to be losing something somewhere. He just didn't have the same fullness to his legs, and he seemed uncomfortable posing. He didn't seem like he wasn't moving well. He seemed unsure of himself. I think the presentation might have hurt him. His back did not look, and Ian's my boy, I love him, but his back did not look the way I thought it would look in some of the lead-up photos to the Olympia. But the biggest thing I noticed was he just looked uncomfortable on stage. And I don't know if that was because his preparation didn't go the way he wanted to. Condition-wise, he was amazing. His legs seemed to lack a little bit of fullness as well. So hopefully they'll correct that and come back tonight. James came out, big as a house, looked really happy to be there. Could have been a little bit sharper, but otherwise incredible and thick. Who else am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing somebody. I'm kind of doing this off the cuff. Nick. Oh my God, I'm forgetting Nick. I'm sorry, Nick. Nick was incredible. Walked out and just thick. Just fucking thick and nasty from head to toe. Just a physique that is... It's an Olympia physique. You look at it and now you're like that. You know, I know people talk about his shape and this and that. But when he walks out, you know, that confidence shines through. And the conditioning was really good. And his posing in some shots was a little bit, you know, he's always had an issue with that front and back relaxed. But other than that, posing was solid. I know he did a couple things with his ab shots where he did a crunch down thing and a stretched out thing. It actually looked really good for him because it showed a couple different angles. Nick looked very good. Anyway, so if we go to comparisons, the first obviously biggest shock was Samson. The first call out, Samson jumps in, and what blew my mind the most in the call outs was Samson standing next to Rami did not look smaller. In my mind, he actually looked better because a lot of people look at Rami as a very, very big guy, but not necessarily pleasing, even though I think he's got great structure. I know people talk about his pleasing. If he's not pleasing, he's just massive. And when you stood Samson next to him, it was like a work of art, but was the same size. I was like, wow, you know, I was out of my seat at one point. And then you stood Hadi and Derek next to each other with Nick, and the three of them have, I wouldn't say similar shapes, but they were the shorter, thicker, more conditioned of that top six lineup. They look phenomenal. And the three of them kind of were battling at one point, and I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but I think they had Nick outside of the two of them based on shape, because Nick was definitely more muscular, but I think Derek and Hadi both have a little bit more streamlined shape that they're going for. When Samson turned to the back, phenomenal, maybe not as conditioned as the other guys, but he was put together so well. I honestly am a little bit lost on the call-outs. If I had to guess off the top of my head, if I had to guess off the top of my head, and then, sorry, Brandon, before I move on. Brandon Curry, I said when he came out by himself, just massive, right? Just looked huge. But when he got into that lineup, some of the details started to get lost because he stood him next to Hadi and next to Derek, and those guys were very conditioned, very, dug out, and Brandon seemed, the detail in the leg wasn't necessarily as deep. Some of the sharpness in the back double bicep wasn't up to par with Derek's, for example. So I think he lost a little bit there. I don't know. I don't think I have him winning. I know I predicted he would win. And when he came out by himself, I'm like, and at the end of the show, they did put him in the middle. I don't know if that means anything, but I don't know. I might be influenced by Jose because we were sitting together, but I think they have fucking Hadi and Derek as 1-2. And like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just an enthusiast and a fan. And I think they have Derek in 1-2. As of now, I know they're going to rejudge tonight. And I think they have Brandon third, Nick fourth, Samson fifth, and Rami sixth. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I could be totally wrong, but they put Rami out there to the right and left him. And I know some people are saying, well, that means that he's winning and they just left him there. The only reason I don't think that's the case is when they sent everybody off the stage, they brought Rami back. And if Rami was that much of a clear winner, they would have left him out and just brought back the top 5, the 2nd through 6th. But they brought back everybody. So that kind of leads me to believe that he is not first. And because they just left him out there and didn't compare him so much, it almost makes me think they have him in 5th or 6th. Now, I don't know if a Mr. Olympia can slide that far. I've never seen it happen in 1 year. But there's some glaring weaknesses this year that I haven't seen before, so maybe that's why. Many of the people I talk to in the show kind of see it the same way I do, with some exceptions. Some people have Brandon winning, some people don't. Some people have Derek winning, some people don't. Some people have Hadi winning. It's very, very, all of them have their strengths and weaknesses, but look, man. Oh, and then before we end, I want to, Crizzo. Massive guy. His color was definitely off. I think it hurt him a little bit. His color could have been better. I think it would have helped him a long way. Also, there's still a little bit of an imbalance between the upper and lower body. He needs a little bit more in that lower body to really shine. I think he could be an incredible bodybuilder. Like, I'm talking top 3. If he could get that lower body to come up a little bit and compare with the upper body. That was the biggest difference I saw. The color and a little bit of an imbalance. It's not massive. It's not glaring, but you could see it. It needs to come up to compare to that upper body. But just an incredible show. Like the fans were cheering and everybody was crazy, and just an awesome fucking Olympia. Congrats to all the guys, man. It's 35 guys. Very hard to judge for the judges, and very hard to get seen. Rafa looked amazing. Rafa's physique, so beautiful, and like we talked about earlier in some shows, he just needs more thickness. When he turns to the side and from the front, he's just very long and lean, and it's beautiful to look at. But when you stand him next to a Hadi, next to a Derek, next to a Nick, next to a Samson, it just, you start to lose. There's a little bit of thickness that needs to go there to really match up with the big boys in that top 6 call out. But beautiful physique otherwise. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going off the top of my. Charles Griffin was notable, even though I know he didn't get. I don't think he was in the second call out. I think he might have been in the third. I'm not sure, but whether he was second or third call out, he was very notable. His condition was good. His posing was good. His legs still need to be a little bit bigger, but I do know he stuck out in my mind as somebody who looked very good on stage. Incredible Olympia. Listen, on a personal note, lots of people came by the booth yesterday. There was long lines. We might have been the busiest booth at the expo, which is something that's very, very dear to me. And thank you, everybody, for showing your support. Now, I know some people didn't get a chance to get into the podcast room. Some people didn't get a chance to get up the line to buy some product. We are going to try and rearrange things at the booth a little bit. I got to go get ready right now. It's early and we're getting started, but I got to go get ready for the booth. We're going to try and rearrange things a little bit today so people can get in and buy things if they want to, or get in and take photos if they want to, or get into the podcast if possible. The podcasts are 5 or 10 minutes each, so you can only do so many in a day. We were supposed to do 3 1-hour blocks yesterday, and I got in the podcast room at like 10:30, and I literally didn't leave until 5:30. They kicked us out. The expo people said, you got to fucking leave. So it was an amazing day, long day, and we're going to do it again today. So I'm going to go jump my ass in the shower, get ready to go meet a bunch of people, and congratulations to all the Olympians. You guys all look fucking amazing. And Samson, I love you, bro. You are the fucking man. You showed everybody, even me. You shocked the fucking world, dude. Congratulations.